Well, that's it. NEBOSH exam day is now finished, and a lot of people will be turning their attention to their project, the NG2 or the IG2 project. Got some tips for you. If that's you or if anyone you know is submitting the project soon, please share this video with them. First thing is this. Try Googling NEBOSH NG2 sample or NEBOSH IG2 sample if you're doing the international version. Google that, you'll find a PDF document, an example from NEBOSH of what a good NG2 or IG2 should look like. Obviously, don't copy it. If you copy it, you're going to get accused of malpractice and cheating. But your project should look something like that. You know, in terms of the layout, in terms of the format, take a good look at it. If yours looks a lot different to that, then you might have a problem. Now, the bit where most delegates fail, in my experience, is on part 3, and it's particularly in relation to legal stuff. So let me give you some tips there. Now, if you're a national general certificate student, there's something you need to put in the general legal arguments. So one of the key criteria for the general legal arguments, where you do the whole moral, general legal and financial bit, you have to mention the general duties under the Health and Safety at Work Act. So you need to say something like, you know, my employer, this organization, whatever, has as duties under the Health and Safety at Work Act. And then you outline what those duties are, you know, so Section 2, basically, Section 2 of HACWA. Now, if you're an international student doing the International General Certificate, you won't want to use HACWA. That's UK law. You want to use ILO conventions. And so you would mention the general duties of employers, not the general duties of nation states, members. Just read your ILO convention carefully. It's got duties for the nation state, the member, and employers. Focus on the employer duties. What are the general duties of employers under C155? So ILO convention C155. Now, when it comes to... Hey, boss. When it comes to the specific legal arguments, so you've got 3 actions and you have to justify each of these actions and with some specific legal arguments. Now, national students, you can use the Health and Safety at Work Act, but it is best if you use a regulation, if there's a regulation which applies. Most hazards have a regulation. For example, if it's a work at height action, use the work at height regulations. If it's a chemical hazardous substance action, use the COSH regulations. But some hazards don't have a regulation, like mental ill health. There's no mental ill health regulations. Lone working, there's no lone working regulation. So in that case, you might have to use a Health and Safety Work Act duty. You know, the duty to provide a safe system of work, safe articles, safe storage, you know, whatever's appropriate. Do not, under any circumstances, use a guidance document, HSG guidance. That's not law, it's not a legal argument, so don't try using HSG documents in your specific legal arguments. Now, if you're an international student doing the IGC course, what specific arguments are you going to have? Well, you can and should use the generic ones to begin with. So C155, R164, you've got these ILO conventions and recommendations. But there are also some specific conventions which you can use. Now, you should have details of these in your course materials. So, for example, there's a convention on construction. There's a convention on noise, and so on. So look that up. You know, if you've got a noise action, just look up ILO convention noise. ILO convention chemicals, if you've got a chemical one, and you might well find that you've got a relevant convention. Have a look at the employer duties and hopefully you'll find something useful. Now, you should have all of these in your course materials, and if you don't, well, you should go and speak to your course provider and let them know that their course materials are perhaps a little bit lacking. So there we are. Should I give you one last one? Yeah, I'll give you one last one. Likelihood and severity. It's in part 3. In the box where it's asking you to justify your action using the likelihood and severity, NEBOSH have very kindly given you some bullet points to help you pass. You should not ignore the bullet points that they've put there to help you pass. You should provide all of the information that they ask for in that box. And so that includes, what is the likelihood? What is the severity? So is the likelihood high, medium, whatever? Is the severity serious, major, fatal? It's asking you for the types of injuries, put those down. It's asking you for the number of employees exposed, put that down. Don't say lots. Don't say all. Don't say most. That's not a number. Give a number, like 6, 5, 10, 15, 1,000. It asks for how often the activity is done. So say how often. So daily, hourly, monthly, constantly. And it asks how widespread the risk is. So is the risk just in one area only, or is it across the whole workplace, or are there other departments affected? And the idea behind this isn't just to provide the information. You're not just ticking boxes here. You've got to demonstrate understanding of risk. Remember, you're trying to sell your action. You're trying to justify your action. So don't just give the information bullet points, but package it in a discussion, saying, right, we need to do this action because the risk is high. Let me explain why the risk is high. Risk is likelihood and severity. So the likelihood is quite high because, and then explain why. Number of people, how widespread the risk is, how often they do it. And then explain why the severity is high. The severity is high because these are the possible injuries that you could suffer if an accident occurred. That's how you do it. Yeah. Remember, this assessment is designed to test your competence at writing a good risk assessment, but it's also your ability to persuade. You're writing a report targeted at a senior manager of some kind, and you're trying to sell your actions to them. This is a key skill that all health and safety professionals need, and I think it's fantastic that the NEBOSH NG2 IG2 project actually includes that, a bit of persuasion skills, using moral arguments, legal arguments, financial arguments, and practical arguments. Anyway, it's a long video, so I'll leave it there for now. If you've got any questions on how that works, drop me a comment below.